I'm Jordan Hatfield. This is Faster Film Critic. Today on the show, we talk Crime 101 with Kolter and Eric Wood. Crime 101 is a 2026 heist drama directed by Bart Layton, starring Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, and Halle Berry. You want to hear something funny? I thought this film was more of an educational how-to crash course. I showed up to the theater with a syllabus and a notebook. Boy, didn't I look stupid. Get in, we're going cinephile'n. Welcome.
Testing.
Dude, we got you loud and clear. Eric, nice to have you back on the pod, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Good to be here.
Crime 101. You dig?
What a cast, huh? Did you learn anything?
Oh, did I learn? Yeah, actually I did. I didn't learn anything about crime, but I did learn something about movie making. And what works and what doesn't work when making a heist movie.
Correct. Yes.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, yep.
Did you guys know this is based on a short story written by Don Winslow?
Yes, it did.
No, I did not.
It is. And so it's very interesting to compare what this movie added to the film that wasn't in the short story, because I personally think the short story version of this movie is really pretty good.
Yeah.
And some of the cinematic additions by Bart Layton is maybe where some of those weaknesses land.
Not so much.
I don't know. Maybe just me.
Turn a short story into a 2-hour and 20-minute movie.
So did you guys like Crime 101?
It was okay. Kind of like a Walmart bargain bin heat, kind of, sort of.
Walmart bargain bin. I miss those days, man. $5 DVDs.
A streamer?
Yeah. You get like 20 Bruce Lee movies for $1.25.
Yeah, I used to have a coworker who would bring Walmart bargain bin DVDs to Christmas, and he'd pass them out to everybody as presents.
It's not bad.
No,
not bad.
Dude, it was great. That's how I discovered Burn After Reading.
Oh.
I love that movie.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, no, I'm not making fun of him. That was great.
Okay.
Dude, Chris Perez, shout out to you, buddy. Thank you so much for all the Walmart bargain bin DVDs you gave me over the years.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, this is awesome.
What a guy. I hope he's listening.
There was a lot in this film that I really liked. I thought the opening sequence was really cool.
That was good.
I thought when the film really tightened in its focus, the tension tightened with it. There were multiple aspects of this film that were entertaining, that worked for me. This is not a film I hated.
I was entertained. I thought that the overall story, I think that I am interested to read the story, because knowing it came from a novella short, that this was a little more lengthy than I think I think that's generally the consensus, that the length of it didn't have enough steam to get you where you needed to go.
I would agree with that. Yeah, pacing was an issue.
Yeah, as a movie that was not at all on my radar, to have a fun cast, to have some really cool shots, and then just the overall heist, it felt like it was the throwback to some of these classic heists. Definitely not on the same level, but it was definitely aware of your heats and your drive and some of those California landscape shots. And I thought the cinematography was really cool. It made me want to look at the director's other work. I'd like to check it out.
The novella really focuses on kind of the cat and mouse dynamic between Mike and Lou. Let me ask you guys this question. Did you think the tension in the film was built by the mechanics of the heist or by the characters themselves?
Maybe I don't know. You know, Chris Hemsworth is playing kind of a different character in this that we've seen him play, which I thought was kind of cool. It's always interesting when an actor kind of ventures out, tries something a little bit different.
I appreciate that too. And by the way, a lot of that was his choice. He said, I really want this character to be more reserved. And I agree. I agree with you on that point.
You know, Mike Davis's character that Hemsworth plays, we don't really know enough about him. Mark Ruffalo's character kind of ends up being more of the main character than Mike does, I think. And so you just don't get enough of Mike's background, why he is the way he is. And this film was kind of pitched as a noir film, and I didn't, aside from the look of it, which is weird, like the cinematography, the chase scenes and stuff are really good. The nighttime shots are really good. Everything in the day, it was like they were off by 3 or 4 f-stops. It was too dark, it was weird. But going back to the character stuff, it just, it didn't hook me, especially for the actors involved. I was a little bored here and there.
I definitely don't see the noir flavor in the movie. It didn't come through to me at all.
Yeah,
in fact, I wish it would have. That would have been really cool. But I felt like the tension was definitely more around the heists and not around the characters, and I think that's a weakness for sure.
Yeah.
You want the characters to be adding a lot of that tension, and the heist scenes were really cool. I enjoyed
They're well done.
every single heist scene that was depicted here, and some of the car chase scenes were cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
think
were
that's
good.
what really hooked me was the chase scenes of it that felt like I was watching, Drive again. That sort of aesthetic with your speed through the nighttime or through even the daytime chases, I thought was really entertaining. And I think this is, again, I had no expectations. I hadn't seen a trailer. I did not see this in theater. I don't know if you guys caught it in theater or not, but I only saw it just when it picked up on stream.
No, it's odd. Like, the marketing for this movie was basically non-existent. I didn't see a trailer for it before it came out. All of a sudden, it was just in the theaters. I was like, what is this movie? Which is becoming a weird thing. Like, some movies that are decent that deserve a little bit more exposure and marketing don't get them. And then you've got these movies that end up bombing that just get millions of dollars of marketing and advertising. It's an odd thing.
I think that's the whole reason I don't look at the marketing aspect of it. I try to avoid that almost. Trailers, I'll see them occasionally, but I don't go seeking them out.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a hard balance to know when
is.
something's going to be overly spoiled or
for sure.
I do think the character thing that Jordan was talking about, I don't think I would say I was drawn to those two characters and the dynamic between them as much as just the cast being kind of a fun, oh, okay, Nick Nolte, there you are. Halle Berry, okay, didn't really know you were in this movie at all.
Yeah.
And then Barry Keoghan, I thought he was probably, to me, the most captivating, just kind of that chaos agent just there, showing up, wreaking some havoc, getting in some car chases and that sort of thing.
I love Mark Ruffalo, by the way. I think Mark Ruffalo is great, and I'm willing to watch anything that he's in.
Yeah,
He's a
always
great
good.
actor.
Even the Marvel stuff?
I was just gonna say, man, I'm not gonna fault him for doing the Hulk thing. He's got to go get his money because most of his other films aren't big money makers. They're more artsy films where he can really dive into a character and portray something deep and emotional. And love that about his character. So I'm not gonna fault him for the Incredible Hulk stuff, but anything else he's in, man, I'm also into.
Okay.
See, I thought the Marvel dynamic, I don't know if I had, because I didn't even realize, it just slipped my mind until we were about ready to start the podcast, that Hemsworth and Ruffalo have such a long relationship, this is a different nuance to it, but they've been going for years strong. And so, I don't know, I think it's an interesting flavor. But again, I didn't think that there was some sort of magnetic dynamic between the two, that they're, both doing their thing. But I was entertained by it.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this question. So both Sharon and Maya's characters are not in the novella. Their entire subplots are added for movie.
Yeah.
Did they deepen the story, or do you think they pull away from what works best?
I think Maya deepens the character development a little bit, or at least some character reveals from Hemsworth, because it's a more realistic depiction of somebody who does what he does for work, right? Jewel thief. And, it's not this calm, confident, quiet. He's a dude who gets rattled, who gets nervous, which was an interesting thing to see for that kind of character archetype. So when we see him interact with Maya, there's this, it's not just through his work, he's just kind of a quiet, subdued, kind of a quirky, not so comfortable in his own shoes guy. So she works for that, for his character to kind of develop that a little bit. With Sharon, it's more of a plot device. I mean, the writing around here is a little weak. When she's sitting in that meeting and her boss is telling her, like, oh, you're approaching, you're 53. And that's dude, sorry, no one's looking at Halle Berry, who's closer to 60 in real life than 53 and thinking, oh, that's a problem. Come on. Like, you're crazy. So, yeah, that didn't quite work for me. I could see using Maya in the limited capacity that she was in it, but Sharon's character was definitely kind of, for me, more of a plot device.
I think the dynamic between Maya and Mike actually worked really well.
Yeah.
I was very interested in that relationship. It did feel very tropey. I mean, it feels like that's something I've seen many, many times in other heist crime movies, but it was working for me. And Monica Barbaro, who plays Maya, I thought she was great. Yeah. So I was into that. I did have some issues with Sharon. A couple of things. Number one, why did Mike even need to go to Sharon? Mike is this disciplined heist thief.
Yeah.
It's way too much of a stretch. I mean, he goes to Sharon, this woman he barely knows, and he's like, hey, do you want to make some money? And then the only thing he asks from her is, what's the security guard's name and what's the flight number?
Right.
It's like, you didn't need her to get that information. You're the pro. It just seems extremely reckless. Why would he be so reckless as to bring her into his scheme here?
Yeah.
That didn't work for me. It didn't work for me at all. I love Halle Berry, and I was excited to see Halle Berry in this, and I'm glad she was in the film because I want to see her in more films. I think she's really good.
Always. Well, except for Catwoman.
Yeah, we're going to skip over Catwoman and the Incredible Hulk stuff. Yeah, that subplot just didn't work. It took me out of the movie. I was like, this is the wrong direction. This does not feel consistent with Mike's character. I felt like that hurt the story, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know where I completely land. I hadn't thought about that. I didn't know that those two characters were not in the original story. I'd almost like to see a recut or a reshoot of what it's like without that. If the tension builds more, if the story dynamic between Chris and Mark, if that's strengthened because you're not stretching out that character as much, you could isolate that storyline a little bit more. I don't know. I'm going to have to check out the book and see.
Yeah, check out the book and report back. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. You know, we agree that the pacing here is problematic. At 2 hours and 20 minutes, the film is just too long.
Yeah.
I mean, if you cut out Sharon, Halle Berry's character, man, that takes, a good 20 minutes out of the film?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think we all agree that a tighter film would have made for a stronger film.
Yeah.
That's one character that I think could have gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to cut Halle Berry out of the visual style of.
I mean, that's very true.
If you're going to put her in.
Speaking of characters, I want to ask this. You've got Chris Hemsworth, who's a sexy animal, man, that guy.
Oh, come on. Sure he is.
And of course, he's the good guy. You've got Barry Keoghan, who, let's just say, isn't quite as attractive.
Sure.
He's playing the bad guy. I mean, this is very typical. Very, very typical.
Yeah.
Imagine for a second that Barry Keoghan is the principled, disciplined heist thief. And that Chris Hemsworth plays the wild card. He plays the character that grew up getting what he wanted, getting all the girls. He's jumping into stealing diamonds because it's going to give him a lot of money. It's exciting. He's the wild card. You flip those two characters. How does the movie land? How does that change things for you?
He's too pretty to be a secondary character. He's got to be.
Yeah, but that prettiness might lend itself well to the fact that he's been a spoiled brat his whole life, gets everything that he wants.
Exactly.
And
it would remind me a little more of SWAT. You remember SWAT?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It reminded me of the pretty bad guy in SWAT. And that wouldn't work for me. That would take me out of it. But I don't know.
I don't know. This movie does seem to waste Barry Keoghan's talents a little bit, though, because there's maybe one scene, that standoff scene towards the end, where he gets to kind of really flex. And as a character, you wouldn't think somebody like Nick Nolte, who's very measured doing these complex, high-risk kinds of heists, would employ such a chaotic, crazy, unpredictable dude to pull these things off. I mean, they're opposite characters in terms of their approach to this kind of task. So it is odd to me that, I don't know, and Barry Keoghan's such a good actor. I could see him playing awkward and quiet and not entirely confident. Not that Chris Hemsworth was bad, but I think he would have been better in that role.
Besides Mark Ruffalo, I think Barry Keoghan is the best actor in this film. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. I think he plays the bad guy phenomenal. And I thought Chris Hemsworth played Mike very, very well. I'm not, throwing shade at these two guys.
Sure.
I'm just thinking it's a real interesting idea if you take that expected, handsome... I mean, Mike isn't a good guy in the film, but he's kind of the good guy in the film. You know what I mean?
He is. Yeah, he is.
And so, of course, he's got to be attractive. You take the bad guy, and he's got to be unattractive. Sorry, Barry Keoghan, but you know it by now. You just expect that. If you switch those two roles, I think that would just be interesting. Yeah. I hear what you're saying about SWAT, Eric. I definitely do.
The pretty bad guy.
Yeah, the pretty bad guy. I hear that. But I don't know. I just thought it would have made for an interesting dynamic. You guys ready to talk about the end of this film? Should we talk final act?
Sure.
Yeah.
I got to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Does the final act feel inevitable, or does it feel constructed?
Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. It wasn't wholly satisfying, I'll say that. It just seems too like, oh, everybody gets what they want. I mean, everybody gets what they want, right? I mean, that's very loose. It's not entirely satisfying. That standoff in the hotel room with Mike and the detective and Barry Keoghan's character, interesting enough, but just wasn't as clever or interesting as it might otherwise have been. Didn't quite work.
I think everything fits, but it doesn't do anything as well as you would have hoped. As far as like it's not ambiguous enough to be like, oh, okay, I'm with you here. It kind of fits. It hits several of the cliches in these type of wrap everything up movies.
Yes.
I'm curious how it ends in the book as well. Like, is there a different dynamic without those characters? Because you're you're wrapping up a lot of storylines. So I don't know.
Most of my complaints about this film come from the third act, but the third act didn't start bad. I thought actually when the third act starts, when Lou finds out who Mike is, it starts to pick up there for a minute. It starts to get far more interesting. I think the tension starts to build, and I found myself more engaged in the film than I had been for the previous hour and a half. So I was excited to see where it goes, but as soon as we get to the conclusion, where Lou just, like you say, gives everybody everything they want, I felt like the wheels fully came off it for me.
Yeah.
I get what they're trying to do with Lou and Sharon. They're the same character. They're dealing with the same thing.
Right.
They're both people who are honest, who have worked hard for the companies that they work with. They are giving it their all, and they're not climbing the ladder of success. They're both the same character there. And in that moment, they realize, I am at the end of my career, and I've got an opportunity here that I, quote, deserve, unquote. I get it. They're the same character, but it didn't work. It felt so inconsistent for Lou, who was so committed to finding this thief and putting in such not only time and energy into figuring out who he is, but also defending his position to his coworkers, to just immediately turn around and let Mike get off the hook.
Yeah.
Didn't work for me. I was like, what? That's completely inconsistent.
Yeah.
The other thing is Mike stealing the diamonds? That definitely felt inconsistent. And no one noticed that these diamonds are missing? I mean, he's got millions of dollars worth of diamonds. He sneaks out with them, and nobody is going to be like, hey, wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's dealing with some brutal criminals here.
Yeah.
You think someone would track him down. Maybe that comes in
Yes.
Crime 201.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that didn't work. The whole car thing, they set that up. Lou's driving this piece of crap car. They call attention to it multiple times. And at the end, Mike's just nice enough to buy him a Mustang that he dreamed of since he was a little boy. Like, it didn't work for me. The end didn't work.
Well, it doesn't work on a couple levels. He says that, oh, it's a Mustang. It's not a Mustang. It's a Camaro, first of all. Details matter, folks. That's an interesting thing. And I think they're trying to go that dinner scene in Heat that's so well known, where there's like an acknowledgement of an inevitable conflict that they both know they're headed towards. And there was a moment there to do something in the car when they're talking about that, Lou and Mike. Lou knows who Mike is. Mike doesn't know who Lou is. There was a moment there to really do something more, and it just felt like they just went for a grounder and just kind of played it safe and way too surface level. Could have been cool. Could have been more interesting. And it could have made the end feel more satisfying on top of that.
Well, okay then. I'm excited to hear exactly how much you guys liked Crime 101. Let's go ahead and rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. What do you give it?
I'll go 3.5.
3.5 for Eric.
I teetered between a 2.5 and a 3. It's a well-produced movie. It's a fairly well-made movie. It's overstays its welcome. It suffers from some pacing issues, some writing issues here and there. The cinematography actually, apart from the chase scenes, apart from the nighttime scenes, which I thought were actually well-lit and well-motivated and actually really cool-looking, all the stuff in the daytime, man, was driving me nuts. Like, to look at it. It looked underexposed and weird just for the sake of trying to make it look dark. I don't know what the choice is. I miss film, man. I really miss watching older movies sometimes where I'm like, man, that looks so good. And these newer digital cameras, sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. It just didn't quite do it for me. I was pretty bored in a good chunk of this movie. This really isn't doing anything new or all that interesting. So I actually think I'm going to go 2.5. It's, 2.5.
Kolter, I agree there's some pacing issues here, and there's some character issues as well. But overall, I thought Crime 101 was decent. I think there were stretches where the film really worked, where everything clicked. And I thought when the film narrowed its focus, that tension really tightened with it. And that worked for me. The issue is that it can't always stay locked in. Some of the characters feel functional rather than essential, and the ending is wildly inconsistent. But this film still entertained. I liked it. I'm going to give it 3 stars. We want to know, what did you think of Crime 101? Please tell us. Well, all right. If Crime 101 is a freshman-level crime movie and you want a level 700 crime movie, we're talking about specialized, advanced graduate work here. It has got to be Zodiac from 2007, directed by the one and only crime professor, David Fincher. It also happens to star Mark Ruffalo, as well as Jake Gyllenhaal and Robert Downey Jr. If you have not seen Zodiac, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you. This is a movie that's got to be seen. Quit wasting time. Zodiac. Check it out. Thank you for listening to Faster Film Critic, and please join us next week when we talk Lee Cronin's The Mummy. You can also follow us on Letterboxd, Cinetrek, and Instagram. Email us at fasterfilmcritic@gmail.com. Hit us up with questions, comments, feedback, review requests, and share this episode with your movie-loving friends.